Hello and welcome to episode 5 of INTERPROM Inspired Uplifted with FitSM. My name is Mark Rovers. I'm the host for this episode, and in this episode, we're going to talk about service portfolio management, the first process of this series of those 14 processes that FitSM, Fit Service Management, is putting forward for us to, at the very least, have in place as an organization. So before I dive into the specifics of the process, let me set the stage first so you have a better understanding as where service portfolio management fits in and why you need a process per FitSM in your organization being a service provider, as in what to expect from that. So as I said, let me set the stage and walk you through the realities of today's service provider organization. If you're in the service industry, which 80 or 90% of the organizations are globally, in other words, most of you are in the service industry and are service providers, here are some realities that you are definitely be confronted with, if not all of them, at least some of them. Keeping up with customers' demands. Customer demands are changing all the time. You know, the demands you were able to meet 10 years ago, 5 years ago, are now different today. Yes, your customers, your consumers, your users always have new demands, different demands. They want more, they want different. And to keep up with that, it's something you basically have to do. Ideally, not simply keeping up with it, ideally being ahead of it, as in knowing what was coming and having it available for your consumers, your customers, the moment they ask for it, instead of them having to wait or going to your competition or another organization that is doing it already for them. Yes. So that's one reality. I'm sure you recognize that one. Leveraging data in a meaningful way. It's sometimes mind-boggling to see how much data organizations are sitting on and not using and not benefiting from, as in they have the data but are not doing anything with it. Is it being leveraged to its fullest? Are you benefiting from the information, the data and the information that you have in-house? And are you able to pinpoint, therefore, an opportunity for you to pursue? As in, consumers keep asking for this, but we weren't quite sure, we weren't aware because it was never filtered through all the layers in our organization to make it through to our decision making process to start offering services for a particular consumer or market or industry. If we would have only known, because then if we would only have benefit from the data that we actually have sitting there, then we would have had it by now. Yes. Customer acquisition and retention. Yes. That's a reality. It could be a challenge, right? Where's your next customer coming from? Do you have repeat business? Is the majority of your business coming from new customers? That's not a good sign. Do you have customers that come back to you for years and years and years? That's a good sign. Yes, they keep coming back. They want more. They have trust in you, and they basically rely on the quality of the service that you provide, and they trust you. The new technology adoption and onboarding. Talked about it in previous episodes. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, big data, robotics, just to name a few, all new technology, digital transformation trends going on around you. And is this something that you're looking into? Is this something that you are slowly but surely also incorporating in your service offerings? If you're not doing it, maybe somebody else is doing it. Yes. It's definitely something that should be on your priority list. And it's a reality of today. We cannot just forget technology. We're relying on it, we're depending on it for way too much. Yes. And then to grow the business and remain relevant. The services you provide today might be of enormous value to your consumers, customers, and so on. But in 3 years from now, are they still asking for the same services, for the same service levels, the same quality, the same performance of your services? Maybe not. Maybe it will shift. And if so, how will it shift? What is it that they're going to expect from us in 3 years from now? So we can ramp up for that and be ready for it. In other words, how do we remain relevant and remain in business? This sets the stage for service portfolio management. This is the process that is the most strategic process of what FitSM has to offer, and it basically tells you think ahead of time, keep up with the customer demand, leverage the data and make the right decisions for the future. Make sure that you have customers not only today but also in the future. Who keep coming back for your services. Remain relevant through the adoption of the right technology, and especially when the economy is tight and uncertain, how do you still remain relevant with your service offerings to also service a market that doesn't have maybe unlimited budgets? Yes. So, how do you still grow in that perspective? Service portfolio management is the process that basically says this is what you should be doing. Yes, where are we heading towards? Because do you know your customers? Are you connected with your customers? Do you engage with your customers? What's your competition doing? Are you mindful of trends? Do you embrace innovation? Yes. These are some questions for you to ask. If you can answer each of these questions, as in, yes, we know our customers. Yes, we're well connected. We listen and we respond. And sometimes we knew something was coming and we were preparing already for it. And when they ask, we are ready for it. We engage. Yes, we continuously interact to learn and listen and improve. We know what our competition is doing. We spend enough time on that. We follow trends. Yes, sometimes we set the trends. How about that? And we embrace innovation. Yes, we are a learning organization. We definitely always are open for new ideas and see what else we can do to stand out and be an even better service provider. This, again, is the spirit of service portfolio management. Yes, it looks at what we're doing today, but also where we're heading towards. Yes, to respond to these. Because do you have a growth mindset? Growth doesn't necessarily mean more markets or more products. Yes, it could also be something that you do within your current portfolio of services. Yes, when it's about knowing your customers, connect, build partnerships, connect with competition even. Yes, as in there's enough information usually out there on the internet we can learn what the industry is doing, what your competition is doing. Build that winning team that is well connected, that collaborates, that build partnerships internally and externally to your organization. Be the trendsetter. Yes, set the trend. Don't follow trends. Well, following is one thing, but become a trendsetter. Lead, in essence. Yes, and then provide lasting service value. In other words, be of value with your services not only today but also in the future, and think ahead of time, basically. Again, this is the spirit of service portfolio management. I mentioned already this is a very strategic process. It pretty much tells you think ahead because if you don't do it, somebody else may be doing it. The requirements for service portfolio management, there's actually four of them per FitSM standard. It says have a service portfolio. In other words, what are the services that you provide today, but also what are the services that you're going to provide tomorrow? And tomorrow could be in 6 months from now, in a year from now, it could be in 2 years from now. What are these services that you have in the pipeline lined up to respond to trends that you are going to set or that you see coming? In other words, that service portfolio management, maintain that portfolio of services, not only from what you have today, but also what's coming, what you want to see coming. And all these services need to be specified in that service portfolio with the service name and service description and features and functionality, ownership, integrations, you name it, dependencies. Yes, all that is part of that service portfolio. In other words, that's all part of thinking ahead of time. Proposals for new change services is part of service portfolio management because setting up a new service is not something you do on a rainy day in an afternoon. No, this is something that takes time and effort. There's projects involved, programs involved are often. Yes, this takes time and effort. So, are we doing the right projects in essence? Yes, are we spending the time on the energy and on the resources on the right projects that make us still relevant going forward? Or are we spending time and money on projects basically to keep the lights on, right? How will that make you relevant going forward? Yes. The evolution of services is something that, in other words, there's a life cycle to services. Yes. The services is created, the service is maintained, and yes, eventually there will be services that we retire, that we say we no longer need them. These will not make us stand out anymore. Yes. The cloud, for example, yes, a bunch of services today are in the cloud. That's another digital transformation trend. In other words, certain things we do not want to be good at anymore. Yes, there's a cloud provider that can do it for us, cloud service provider that can do it for us. Maybe even more effective, more efficient. Who knows, right? So that's part of service portfolio management. What are the services that make us stand out, and what are the services that no longer make us stand out, and we can maybe outsource? Yes. So all questions to be asked and answered in service portfolio management. And then for each service, it says determine who are the providers of these services. Are we doing this ourselves? Are we doing this with a third party? Something that somebody else will do? In other words, who is part of this service chain in essence? Yes, as in what are the providers that we depend on? What is the role that we play in this whole chain of services, chain of events almost? In other words, all strategic discussions, strategy decisions to be made, all part of service portfolio management. So plan for service value, design service value, build service value, organize and transition. In other words, put these services forward that will make you relevant and continue to make you relevant also going forward. I hope this was inspiring you to seriously take a close look at what service portfolio management per FitSM has to offer. As I mentioned in earlier episodes, fitsm.eu is the website to go to. You can download all the documents for free, including the document that talks about service portfolio management, which is FitSM-1, that has the requirements, those 4 requirements I just walked you through. That's part of this standard. If you still have questions, more than happy to get on the phone with you or have an email exchange with you. Also, more than happy to do an executive brief about FitSM for your organization. There's no charge for that, or spend some time on the phone with you to do some free coaching. But if you say, I'm really serious about this, I want to get certified as an individual, maybe as an organization, maybe it can be done. We can help you there. The workshops, maybe do some practice labs for you to implement some of these components. As I said, glad to help you with that. I want to thank you so much for watching this episode. Hopefully, it inspired you to take a closer look at FitSM and you start benefiting from it as well to become much more forward thinking than a follower in essence. Yes, thank you.